Now, US President Biden travels to Poland on Friday to discuss the international response to the situation in Ukraine. Poland has accepted millions of refugees from its neighbour, but Poles now have a growing fear the conflict will spill across the border. Natalie Carney has more.
Small business owner Janusz Leś is very concerned about the conflict in neighboring Ukraine. He runs rental chalets in the Polish countryside, less than 50 kilometers from the border. While his chalets used to host families on holidays, now they are full of volunteers and refugees, while nearby Western arms make their way to Ukraine.
There may be some attempts by Putin. Some convoys might be bombed or something else because there's a military base very close to here. The convoys take the main road, so there could be some attacks on them.
Russia has warned that those arms convoys bound for Ukraine would be viewed as legitimate military targets. Then Russian airstrikes hit the Yavoriv military base in Ukraine just 20 kilometers from the Polish border, a garrison well known for hosting NATO troops. This attack drew instant international attention, putting Poland, a NATO member, on high alert.
It was a very clear psychological attack. They are clearly trying to say, not exactly to the NATO, but to the general public, see, we have super weapons, we have long hands, we can strike close to the border, our missiles can cross the border.
NATO is refraining from any moves that would place it in direct confrontation with Russia, including the controversial decision not to protect the skies above Ukraine. But an attack on one NATO member is considered an attack on all members, so it is doing what it can to protect those closest to the conflict. More troops, weapons and air patrols are now in Poland, and Britain will deploy its Sky Sabre missile system to the country. Sharing a 500-kilometer border with Ukraine, across which weapons go in and refugees come out, exposes Poland to potential Russian revenge.
Poland's President Andrzej Duda has signed a bill into law that would increase defense spending to 3% of GDP, one of the highest levels of any NATO country, and more than double the number of troops serving in its armed forces.
Poland's deputy prime minister described Duda's new Homeland Defense Act as a means of countering Russia's alleged imperial ambitions, adding that Poland had great allies, but that they also must defend themselves. Many Poles agree.
Yes, we are very afraid because we are really close to the border and you never know what will happen with this bad man, Putin. We are really afraid.
People are concerned and some people are worried about, but personally I feel safe, of course. I hear and see over my house, for example, every day military planes. I feel safe. The NATO is here.
However, while NATO may be a comfort for some, their involvement in a conflict with a nuclear power could escalate the fighting to unpredictable levels. Natalie Carney, CGTN, Lublin, Poland.
China will provide